everyone so much for joining us for the first day in our third week of Camp Creatology. This day it kicks off Space Week. Super exciting. We are going to be making a rocket ship card today. This class is being recorded, so if at any point you feel you're behind and you want to go and rewatch the video, you can at any point. Just go to michaels.com/classes. The video will be up tomorrow or Wednesday, and then we also have a pre-recorded version of this that I actually did a couple months ago that's already available at michaels.com/campcreatology. So if at any point you need to stop and go watch a video and just watch the steps over and over again, you can. And without further ado, let's go ahead and switch over to my other camera and we can start talking about the supplies. All right, so for our rocket ship card, this is the final product we are going to be making. And I'm gonna just keep that there. If we have any crafters that are just super duper fast and need to know what the final product looks like, that's always gonna be there in frame. So we are going to need one piece of black construction paper, or you could use pink or blue or any kind of color you want. It is your card, so it can be any color you want. And then for the inside of the card, I'm actually going to take a piece of this Creatology paint pad right here. I'm just going to rip it out of the paint pad. Okay, if it takes a little effort to get out, but it's okay if it rips a little bit. It's not a big deal. All right, so I have my paint pad paper. I have my construction paper. Then I'm going to be using gems and sequins to decorate, but of course you can use whatever you want. If you have markers, if you have colored pencils. I also have these little stickers I'm going to use, but again, you do not have to use stickers. You can use whatever you have at home. And then we have foam. This is going to be the body of our rocket ship, which I will show you how to make. I have some glitter glue just to make things nice and fun and sparkly. I have glue to glue everything together. Doesn't matter what type of glue you have. You can use a glue stick. You can use liquid glue. You can use any glue you have. And then I have chenille stems. I'm only going to be using one chenille stem. This is going to be what our rocket ship sits on, which is going to make it move. It's going to be able to blast off after we're finished with it. All right, and then the only other two things I'm using are scissors, which if you are a kid, you should be using kid-safe scissors, and then a pencil. All right, let's go ahead and get started. And our friend Lindsay is going to be watching that Q&A. So if at any point you need to stop me and ask me a question, feel free to let me know. And we're going to go ahead and get started here. And let me know what colors and other kinds of unique things you're doing for your card. I'd love to know because it's your card. You can do whatever you want with it. Be creative. Have fun with it. All right. So I took my piece of my paint pad. If you haven't, go ahead and take the piece of paper or the paper from your paint pad and take it out of the paint pad so you have just one individual sheet. And now I'm going to take this and I'm just going to fold it in half. We used to call this like a hot dog fold. Just going to fold it in half sideways like this. There we go. And now it's folded. It kind of looks like a card. So we've got the outside and the inside. So now I'm going to take this black piece of construction paper. I'm actually just going to place my card right here. So my black piece of construction paper is on the back, and then my white piece of paper is in the middle here. And then I'm just going to fold it again so that it folds together. All right. So now they should be folded in the same way. Does that make sense? Have any questions?
Not yet. But that was your white piece of paint paper, which is a little thicker paper, and then your black construction paper, correct?
That is correct. And the black goes on the bottom and the white goes in the middle. Okay, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be poking 2 holes into this black piece of construction paper. So I'm taking the front of my black piece, so I'm just folding it together like this. And I'm just taking this front piece here. And I'm going to make 2 little marks with this pencil. So what I'm doing is I'm making holes for my Chanel stem to go in later. I want to do it now so that it's not so hard to poke through both pieces of paper once they're glued together. So all I'm doing is I'm looking for the corner of the card, so the top corner here, and then I'm just going in a bit from the corner and I'm just making a little mark. And you could also use, if you can't see the pencil very well, it's kind of hard to see, especially on the camera. You can use a marker, you can use a pen, but basically I'm just making a little mark so I know where I need to cut with my scissors. And so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do that at the bottom here. I'm making it at a diagonal, like basically a diagonal line from one corner to the other. So I'm going now here to my bottom corner, right where the fold is. And I'm just going to go up. Now the reason I'm going up is because I don't want my cut hole to be too close to the end here, and then it cuts the hole. So I want to make sure that it's a little inward so that the hole doesn't get cut. All right. So there I have 2 holes. And now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to make a little snip. So I'm going to take where my hole is and I'm just going to fold it a little bit. And I'm just going to snip just enough so that it makes a little bit of a hole. See, now we have a hole. And I'm going to do the same thing with my other mark, which is down here. Might be a little hard to see. I'm just going to fold it and then snip. And then you can poke the scissors through to make it a little bit easier to get it a little bit wider. So now I have my 2 holes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my white piece of paper and I'm going to put it inside where the black piece of paper is on the bottom. And I'm going to fold it together. And now I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to make a mark right where the holes are in my black piece of construction paper. So they make a mark on the white piece of construction paper or the white piece of the paint pad paper. And see, that has now made 2 little marks right there. And it's okay if you're late. We're going to go over everything twice. And we have the recorded video that is available online right now. If you're lost and you can't follow along at any point, you can go and rewatch all the steps over and over again as many times as you need. All right, so now I'm going to do the same thing I did with my black piece of construction paper. This paper is a little bit thicker, so it might be a little bit harder to snip through here, but it's okay, we'll get through it. There we go. And you just poke it through. Make sure your fingers are not behind it when you poke through. I don't want you to hurt yourself. And then we're going to do the same thing here. And we're going to make a little snip. And again, it's going to be a little bit more hard. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to cut through that paper since it's a little thicker. But ultimately, we just want it to make those holes. And then when we put everything back together, the holes should line up. So then the way we can do that, we can just poke the pencil through and we can see that the holes line up.
And Stacey, if they don't have the paint pad paper, can they use printer paper or other cardstock paper?
You can use printer paper. You could also use construction paper. You could use any color construction paper. I would suggest a light color, just something that you could easily like write with a black pen or a blue pen or anything like that, something where you could easily see it. But you can use any piece of paper you want. It does not have to be this specific paper. All right, so now that I have my holes made, I can now glue the black piece of construction paper onto my white piece of paper. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm actually going to take my white piece of construction paper and I'm just going to fold it. And then I'm just going to put glue all along the side. There it goes. And you can use any glue you like just using the glue that comes with the kit.
And while you're doing that, can you just give a quick recap?
A recap of what I've done so far?
Yes, just a quick go back over the black and white paper and the holes.
Absolutely. So basically what I've done so far is I've taken a white piece of paper and I folded it in half. And then I took a black piece of paper and I also folded it in half. I actually put the white piece of paper and the black piece of paper together so I could make sure the holes were together. And then I just poked holes in each one near the corner. So the one on the left-hand side is at the bottom corner near the fold, and the one on the right-hand side is at the top towards the corner that faces out. And you do that on both pieces of paper. All right. So I'm just putting the glue on. And now I'm going to do the same thing to the back. I'm actually running out of glue, so I have another thing of glue here, but I'm actually going to get it. Feel free to ask any questions. See, you can use any glue you like. So I have this Creatology clear glue I'm going to use, since I'm running out of my other glue. There we go. And just gluing the black piece of construction paper onto our white piece of paper. So that they are together. And there we go. Now we have our black piece of paper glued to our white piece of paper, and our card is coming together. All right, so I'm going to set this aside so it can dry because it is a glue on it and needs to dry. So our next piece of the card is our rocket ship. So let's go ahead and make our rocket ship. So in this card, I use blue and orange and green. So those are the colors I'm going to use for my card here, but feel free to use any color of foam that you have available. You could also use construction paper if you don't have foam. It might be a little bit flimsier than the foam, but you know, use what you have. It's totally fine if you don't have foam at home. All right. So I have my green, I have my blue, and I have my orange. So we're going to break a rocket ship down into really simple shapes. So basically what this is we have half a circle for the top of our rocket ship. We have a rectangle for the body of our rocket ship. And then we have 3 triangles for the 2 fins and then the bottom of our rocket ship. So I'm going to show you how to make each one of these shapes. And we can make them as many times as we need. All right. So for the rectangle, all I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to cut this. I'm going to cut just a strip of blue foam. And you've already got a rectangle. You're already there. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, but you can have a long rocket ship if you want. You don't even have to use a rectangle. You could do a circle. You could do a triangle. I mean, it's your rocket ship. Make it whatever shapes you want. But I have a rectangle here for the body of my rocket ship. So now for the orange piece, I'm going to be doing the top of my rocket ship and then the 2 fins on the side. So for this, I'm going to take my pencil. And so for the top of that rocket ship, it's really just a circle. It's just cut in half. So if I make a circle, it doesn't have to be a perfect circle. Any circle will do. And I just draw a line in the middle, then that's the shape I want. And I'm also, with this yellow orange foam, I'm going to do the 2 fins on the side. And the 2 fins on the side, they're just triangles. So I'm just going to draw 2 triangles, and they can be any size you want. And you don't have to do triangles if you don't want them to be triangles. You can make them be any shape you want because it's your card and you can make it any way you want. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the shapes I've made. Let me know what colors you're using. If you're making any sort of customizations to your card, I'd love to know. You guys are always so creative. You have a triangle there. I can do any step over again. So don't worry if you feel you're behind. We can do the whole thing over again. And of course, we have the recorded video. We're recording this video today, and we also have the pre-recorded video you can watch right after we're done here. All right, so I have my circle here. I'm just going to cut it in half. And I can use either half. I kind of like this half. I'm going to use this half for the top of my rocket ship. And see, this one's a little bit smaller, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. And so we've got the fins. It's starting to look like a rocket ship. Kind of put it together, kind of see what it looks like. Okay, and now I'm going to take my green piece of foam and I'm going to make the bottom of my rocket ship, which is just another triangle. This triangle is a little bit bigger than the fin, so I'm going to make it a bit bigger. But you don't have to make it bigger if you don't want. You can make it small. You could make it any kind. You could make it a circle. You could make it a triangle. You could make it any shape you want because it's your rocket ship.
And Stacey, if they don't have the foam for this, can they use the construction paper also, or?
Yes, you can use the construction paper. You can use construction paper. You can use regular printer paper. Just know that with construction paper, it might be a little bit flimsier. So just be careful with it that you don't rip it, but it should work just fine. All right, so I have the body of my rocket ship. I have the bottom. So I put those together and they look like that. I have the two fins for the sides. I just put those on the side, and you want them to overlap a little bit because you're going to glue them together. And then you have the top of your rocket ship, which will go right there, right at the top. All right, so now that I have all the shapes for my rocket ship, I'm going to glue everything together. So I'm going to start with gluing the bottom of the rocket ship to the bottom, or the bottom of the rocket ship to the body of the rocket ship. So I'm just going to take my glue again. I'm just going to put a little bit here. You don't need all that much. Just needs a little bit to secure. There we go. And then I'm going to glue the fins on the sides. And again, you don't need that much, just a little bit to glue them, get them secured. I'm just going to do each side.
And Stacey, after you glue these pieces, will you do a recap of these shapes that you cut out to build the rocket ship again?
Absolutely. All right, and then we're going to do the top here. All right, so the shapes we used for our rocket ship. We have a rectangle, which I cut out of blue foam. To do that, all I did was cut a strip from the blue foam, and that's basically a rectangle right there. If you want it to be shorter, you can cut a little bit off. And then from the orange foam, I did the two fins on the side and the top. And the top is basically just half a circle, and the fins on the side are just two triangles. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be the exact same size. Just draw it to the best of your ability. And of course, they don't have to be those shapes if you want your rocket ship to look different. But basically all I did was I made a circle, and then I cut it in half, and then I did two triangles, and then I cut those pieces out. And then finally, for the bottom of the rocket ship, that is just another triangle. I made that triangle a bit bigger since it's the rocket part of the rocket ship. And then I just cut that out. And then once you're done cutting everything out, all you have to do is glue it together. And now that it's glued together, I'm actually going to set this aside because it's going to take a bit to dry, and we're going to need it to be nice and dry when we're putting it together. Okay, so now is a great time to actually decorate our card. And this is such a fun part. You can decorate it any way you want with any supplies you have. I have some of these little star and circle stickers that I got from the little craft kit that comes in the little briefcase. If you don't have these, you could also cut some stars out of construction paper and glue those on that way, or you could use gems or sequins, or you could draw stuff on the card if you have like something that's not like not a darker color, if you have like a light colored marker or something, or if you paint, you could paint it. You could do anything you want. I'm just going to put some stars and some circles on there to make some planets and some stars. This is a space, but it's our space and we can make it any way we want. All right. I am going to just peel. These are like stickers. So I'm just peeling the sticky off and just sticking them wherever I want. I love how creative you guys are. So feel free to do any design you want. You know, it's space. We don't know what's out there. Could be all kinds of things. Could be there could be, you know, a cube planet out there somewhere. You never know. So you could put a triangle shape or a square, or you could make a little, maybe a little space alien or anything you want. All right, there we go. And again, you can continue to decorate it. You could put all kinds of fun things on it, but I'm going to go ahead and move on to my next step. So I'm going to take.
Casey, can you move your
Yes.
card up into the frame a bit more?
Yes,
There we
I
go.
can. There we go. Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Now I'm going to get a Chanel stem. So this is going to be basically the little track our rocket ship is going to be stuck to, so that we can actually make it move once we're done and everything's dry. So to do that, we are going to just stick one end through the holes we made. You see how it pokes through? Makes it really easy for us, and that we already pre-made those holes. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to fold this a couple of times so that it's nice and thick and won't pop back through that hole. So if I yank on it a little bit, it's not coming through that hole. And I'm actually going to keep this. I'm not going to put it through the other hole just yet, because I need to feed the rocket ship through it first. So I'm going to take my rocket ship now, and it's still drying, but we're going to be careful with it. And it's okay if yours is still drying. Feel free to just let it dry. And then if you need me to go back over this step once yours is dry, I can do that. You can go watch the video again. It's totally fine. So don't worry if you're still waiting for your rocket ship to dry. We can go over this step again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make holes in the bottom of the rocket ship and a hole in the top of the rocket ship. So to do this, I'm just going to poke my scissors through the rocket ship. Just be careful. Make sure that your fingers are not at the back. Make sure that you are just very slow with it. And there, now it's poked through, just like that. Make sure your hands are very clear of the scissors. I don't want anyone hurting themselves. All right, and we're going to do the same thing with the top here. We're just going to poke the scissors right through, and it's okay. Mine's still not perfectly dry, and that's okay because I can just readjust it. And just be very slow with it as we poke it through. And it's going to be a little easier if you're using construction paper to poke it through. But there we go. All right. I'm just going to adjust it to make sure that my holes are lining up. All right. So now I'm going to take this and feed it through my Chanel stem. Now how I do that is I'm actually going to take it from the back, and I'm going to poke it through the holes. There we go. Actually, I'm just going to peel this off and poke it through this hole first, so I know it's through. There we go. And then I'm going to poke it through the hole in the body of the spaceship, like this. And we will do this step again, I promise. So don't feel overwhelmed. All right. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to poke it through this way. Actually, yeah. Well, no, okay. Actually, you know what? I'm wrong. we're going to do it. What did I do this? Okay, so we're actually going to poke it. We're going to do the opposite. We're going to poke it this way. Apologies. Don't mean to confuse you. All right, we're going to poke it through the back.
And we have a question if you could use a hole punch.
You could use a hole punch. That's a great idea. Good suggestion. If you have a hole punch, use a hole punch. All right, and now we're going to feed it through the top. You see, mine's not super dry, so it's kind of falling apart, but that's okay because we can always put it back. We're just going to put the top here through here. Ugh. A hole punch is a great idea. Good suggestion. You guys are so smart. All right. So there we go. We've got our rocket ship through. And now all we have to do is we take that Chanel stem and we put it through the back. And we're going to do the same thing we did earlier, where we're folding it through. And there you go. You've got your rocket ship on the Chanel stem. And I will do that step again. So don't worry if you had trouble following that. Okay. So there we have our rocket ship on the card. And now all we have to do is just decorate our rocket ship. So you can use gems, you can use sequins, you can use anything you like to make your rocket ship look pretty or make it look cool. You could draw yourself riding the rocket ship. You could do all kinds of fun things with it. You could use some glitter glue and you could glue on the rocket ship. And then once it's fully dry, the rocket will move up and down that stem. And then you can put a special message inside if you want to give this card to someone you like. You could give it to your mom or your grandma or anyone in your life. You could give it to your friend, or you could just keep it for yourself because it's really cool. All right. So do we want to see me putting the rocket ship on one more time? Let me.
Yes, there are a few requests for that.
All right. So let me go ahead and construct another rocket ship and we will do just that. I know that part is the complicated part. So I'm going to cut out these pieces that I made earlier.
And if you'll move up in the screen, just there we go. Perfect.
Yes. Thank you, Lindsay, for keeping me on screen. All right. So we got the body here. We got the bottom. And we've got our two fins and the top of our rocket ship here. I'm just cutting them out. There we go. And then we've got the other fin here. All right. So let me cut this in half. So now I have the top of my rocket ship and I have the two sides. So I'm actually going to pre-poke these similar to how we did with this. So let's just make a little mark and then we'll just snip it through. The thumb's a little hard to cut through, so if you're having trouble, don't worry. Just give it time and it will poke through. All right. Now I'm going to do the same thing here, where I'm just going to make a little mark where the hole is. That's a little, I'm actually going to move this a little bit down. I don't want it to be that close to the edge. There we go. And then we have the two pieces here. And we're going to do the same thing with our bottom here. Going to make a little hole right there. I'm just going to snip it. And I'm going to flip it over like this. I'm going to put my pencil through that hole so I know where it is on the body. And I like that spot right there. So now I'm just going to snip it so that the holes align. And I know the holes align because when I stick a pencil through it, they align. There we go. All right. So now I'm going to glue everything together.
And Stacy, if you'll move up in frame just a little bit more.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm going to move this actually out of the way. Okay. Okie dokie. And now I'm going to glue this piece on. While that's gluing. So part where I got myself confused, so even I can get confused, is this has to go through this going through the top, and then it's going to feed through the bottom. So I'm going to feed this through the top, just like that, and then it pokes through the bottom. And then it feeds through. And then you poke it through the top. And my holes aren't perfect, but they will do. There we go. And there we go. And then we just feed it through. And the Chanel stem might displace your rocket ship a little bit. That's okay. You can always just readjust it, and you can put more glue on it if it needs it. And then just glue the sides on. And there you go.
And we did have one question on how you attach the chenille stem to the card again.
Yes, absolutely. Let's just go ahead and do that again. So I am just unfolding this so I can demonstrate that whole process to you guys again. So our card, when we started, we poked a hole towards the bottom of the left side of the card, so towards the fold, and then we poked a hole towards the top of the right side of the card. And that makes a diagonal, that'll make a diagonal space for our rocket ship to go up and down. You don't have to have it be diagonal. If you want your rocket ship to go up and down or to the side, you could do that. But that's the way that it is in my little example here. So that's the way I did it. So to attach the chenille stem to the card, I'm just going to feed it through that bottom hole there, like that. And all I do is I fold it a couple of times so that it's nice and thick and it can't get back through that hole. So there, it's now nice and attached. And then I take the top and I feed it through. There we go. So now it's fed through the hole. And then I just do the same thing again. I'm just folding it. You could even put a little dab of glue so it doesn't come undone. And there you go. Now the chenille stem is attached to the card. All right. And then of course you can decorate your rocket ship to be any colors, you can put gems, you can put sequins on them, you can put glitter glue on them, you can do anything you want. You could draw a galaxy in the back with the glitter glue. That would be pretty fun. But yeah, that's our rocket ship card. Do you have any questions or any comments?
There were some questions about maybe adding pom-poms.
Yes, what a great idea. You guys are so creative. You could absolutely add pom-poms. You could even add like a pom-pom and maybe a couple of wiggle eyes, and you can make a little alien. That would be super fun. You can do all kinds of fun things. If you have extra supplies, feel free to use them. Or you could even make like a little pom-pom person, and that could be you riding on the rocket ship. That would be pretty fun.
Yes, those are great ideas.
Awesome. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I think we're done.
No, I think we're good.
All right.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, one thing I just saw. If they don't have the chenille stem, there's a question if they can use string.
Oh, string's a great idea. You can absolutely use string. You could also use yarn. Just make sure you pull it really tight. But you could absolutely use that. That's a great idea. Awesome. And yes, you can add feathers. You could add feathers to your rocket ship if you want it to be feathery. You could absolutely do that. All right.
I'll move you back to the front screen.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for today's Camp Creatology class. So you can find the recording. So this recording will be uploaded to our michaels.com/classes page, or and my recording, this recording we're doing right now, will be available by Wednesday, or you can go watch the video that I pre-recorded, which is available on michaels.com/Camp Creatology if you want to go and rewatch and make as many cards as you want. But thank you so much for everyone for joining us today. We have solar system necklace on Wednesday and alien art on Friday. So if either of those sound fun, feel free to join us for those as well. But thank you so much. Make sure to tag us with hashtag Make It With Michaels and hashtag Michaels Classes if you made the card with us today, and we'll see you again. So thank you so much, everyone. Bye.